The gentleman from Fairfax, Mr. Sullivan.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise for a point of personal privilege.
The gentleman may proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker and ladies and gentlemen of the House, a week or so ago, I took a moment of your time to talk about an important issue to me, and I think an important issue to everyone in this body. That's the issue of redistricting reform, and my hope that we would vote on it here on this floor. I expressed last week what I think is a widespread bipartisan view on the part of all of our constituents that this House and its members needs to take a stand one way or the other for all the world and all the voters to see on this important issue. But yesterday, Mr. Speaker, every resolution addressing the issue of redistricting reform was killed in a subcommittee of this body. And they were killed in an undifferentiated block of resolutions. They were killed by 4 members of this 100-member body. And when a request was made to sever these bills from the block, a request which is regularly granted as a courtesy to any member of this body, the subcommittee gave that member the back of its hand. This is the kind of thing that happens in Washington all the time, but that we brag here in Virginia doesn't happen down here. Mr. Speaker, the call for redistricting reform in Virginia is getting louder every day. But this body doesn't seem to be listening. The jig is up, ladies and gentlemen. Gerrymandering, both parties have used it, both parties have abused it. We don't try to hide it anymore. We're not even subtle about it anymore. Both parties have overplayed their hand on gerrymandering. And the voters have finally noticed. There are several good proposals we could vote on, Mr. Speaker. I'm partial to my H.J. 581, but the gentleman from Augusta has an elegantly simple proposal in H.J. 763. The gentlewoman from Newport News has a similar version in H.J. 696. And the gentleman from Fairfax has a more intricate proposal in H.J. 628. But for some reason, the subcommittee determined that none of these should see the light of day. You know, Mr. Speaker, by the end of this session, all of us will have cast up on that board hundreds, maybe even thousands of votes, yet not on this crucial issue, which is an issue that will affect our politics and our government for a decade. Why are we unwilling, Mr. Speaker, or why are we afraid to vote? The unwillingness to vote, Mr. Speaker, I suggest, is almost as disrespectful to our constituents as is the gerrymandering process itself. We talk a lot on this floor about votes that are going to end up in mailers. This vote, or lack of a vote, should be one of those. I hope every one of our constituents across the Commonwealth asks every one of the members of this body during the campaign this fall, why didn't you vote on the redistricting reform issue? And if you had, how would you have voted? They send us here to vote, Mr. Speaker. We have failed the citizens of the Commonwealth by not doing so on redistricting reform. Let's vote. Thank you.